Air billionaire takes his son out for dinner. But when he sees a poor, hungry mother and her daughter, he does something unbelievable. The diner was nothing special. Time-scratched wooden tables, simple chairs that creaked faintly, and yellowed light fixtures hanging from the low ceiling. The smell of French fries and seasoned burgers filled the air. It was the kind of place where nobody pretended to be more than they really were. Darius Washington was sitting at a table near the window, watching his son chew on fries with the typical concentration of a 5-year-old. Jordan had ketchup on the corner of his mouth and smiled between bites, swinging his little legs under the table. "It's yummy, Dad." Darius smiled back, his warm brown skin crinkling at the corners of his eyes. "That's great, champ." He didn't dress like a billionaire. Dark jeans, a plain gray shirt, comfortable sneakers. His close-cropped hair was neat but casual. Nothing drew attention, and that's exactly how he preferred it. Away from the spotlights, away from the endless meetings, away from the weight of the Washington name. Here he was, just a dad having dinner with his son. The door to the diner opened with a gentle jingle from the bell hung above the entrance. 2 figures walked in. A blonde woman with her hair pulled back in a low ponytail, simple clothing, faded blue jeans, a slightly wrinkled white shirt, sneakers worn at the toe. She held the hand of a little girl the same age as Jordan. The small child had bright, curious eyes, blonde hair falling over her shoulders, and wore a light pink jacket that was already too big for her. Darius noticed the way the woman looked around. It wasn't the look of someone searching for a seat. It was the look of someone checking if it was okay to stay, if this place was safe. She walked toward the counter with cautious steps, her daughter by her side. "A cup of water, please," she asked in a low, almost embarrassed voice. The counter attendant nodded and grabbed a plastic cup. He filled it with ice water and handed it to her. The little girl tugged at her mother's shirt hem with small fingers. "Mom," she whispered. "What is it, sweetheart?" "I'm hungry." The voice was so quiet it almost vanished into the diner's noise, but Darius heard it. And so did Jordan. The boy stopped chewing and turned his head toward the two. He looked at the little blonde girl, then looked at his own plate, full of fries, juicy pieces of burger, and an untouched chocolate milkshake beside it. Jennifer took the cup of water and led her daughter to an empty table in the corner, away from the bustle. She sat across from her and lovingly ran a hand through the little girl's blonde hair. "Drink a little." "Okay, we'll eat at home later." Emma held the cup with both small hands and drank slowly. But her eyes kept drifting toward the other tables where people were eating burgers, pizzas, and crispy fries. She quickly looked away as if she knew she shouldn't stare. Jordan put his fork down on the table. "Dad." Darius turned his face to him. "What is it, son?" The boy discreetly pointed toward the corner table. "That girl is hungry." Darius followed his son's gaze. He saw Jennifer trying to distract her daughter, talking softly, smiling despite her tired eyes. He saw Emma swinging her legs in the chair, too quiet for a 5-year-old. Jordan looked at his father with that strange seriousness that children sometimes have when they realize something important. "Dad, can I share my food with them?" The question went through Darius like a silent electric current. He blinked, surprised. He hadn't expected that, not in such a direct, pure way. For a second, he just looked at his son. Jordan waited for the answer, his brown eyes wide, full of genuine hope. Darius felt something tighten in his chest. Pride, tenderness. He put his hand on his son's shoulder and smiled. "Do better than that. Invite them to eat with us." Jordan's face lit up. "Really?" "Really." Jordan slid out of his chair before Darius could say anything else. He crossed the diner with quick steps and stopped in front of the table where Jennifer and Emma were sitting. "Hi." The two looked up at him at the same time, surprised. "Hi," Emma replied, blinking her bright eyes. "Do you want to eat with us? My dad said you can." Jennifer blinked several times, confused. What? Jordan pointed to Darius, who was already standing up and walking toward them. Pardon his excitement, Darius said with a lopsided smile, his deep voice warm and reassuring. But he's right. Would you like to have dinner with us? Jennifer flushed immediately. She shook her head. No, thank you. We can't. Please, Jordan asked, looking directly at Emma. I have a toy car. I can show you later. Emma looked at her mother with those bright eyes, full of desire, but without saying anything. Mom. Jennifer bit her lip. She was clearly uncomfortable, but also visibly touched by the kindness of these two people. Darius crouched slightly, bringing himself down to her level. No pressure, but we have plenty of food, and it would be nice for the kids, if you allow it, of course. There was something in his voice. It wasn't pity. It was respect, as if he knew she had her pride, and when he was just offering a bridge. Jennifer looked at Emma. She looked at Jordan. She looked at Darius, trying to find some hidden motive. She found nothing but sincerity, and she sighed. All right. Thank you. Jordan celebrated quietly. He grabbed Emma's hand without ceremony. Come on. The two children ran ahead. Jennifer slowly stood up, still feeling awkward, adjusting her old bag on her shoulder. Darius waited for her to pass and walked beside her. My name is Darius. This is Jordan. Jennifer, and this is Emma. Nice to meet you, Jennifer. She just nodded her head. When they reached the table, Darius called the attendant and ordered another full meal, orange juice, and extra fries. The attendant quickly wrote it all down and brought it over. Darius placed the steaming plate in front of Emma. For me? For you? Darius said with a smile. Emma looked at her mother, asking for silent permission. Jennifer nodded her head, her eyes shining. The girl carefully picked up the fork and began to eat. Slowly, chewing thoroughly, without rush, but also without hiding that she was genuinely hungry. Jordan ate next to her, chatting between bites. Do you like cars? I do. I have a red one. It's the fastest of all. I've never had a toy car. Jordan stopped chewing and looked at her as if that were impossible. Never. Emma shook her head. Then you can play with mine, he said, already pulling the metal car out of his jacket pocket and placing it on the table. Emma's eyes sparkled like two stars. Really? Really? Look how fast it goes. Jordan made the car slide across the table, making engine noises with his mouth. Emma laughed, a clear and joyful laugh that made Jennifer close her eyes for a second. Darius watched everything in silence. Something special was happening there. It was connection. It was humanity. Jennifer watched her daughter with a tightening in her heart. Darius noticed. He didn't say anything. He just nudged the basket of fries a little closer to her. Eat. It's still warm. Jennifer hesitated, but took a fry. It was delicious. She couldn't even remember the last time she had eaten something warm like this unhurriedly without guilt. Thank you, she said softly. No need to thank me. Yes, I do. You don't even know me. Darius shrugged. Jordan extended the invitation. I just followed his lead. She smiled for the first time since she entered the diner. A small smile, but real. He's very kind. I learned from him. Actually, Darius said, looking at his son. Jennifer blinked, surprised. What do you mean? Darius continued watching Jordan, who was now making the car fly through the air, while Emma laughed. I spent a lot of time focused on work. I forgot what really matters. Jordan reminds me of that every day. Jennifer didn't know what to say. The simplicity of that confession caught her off guard, so she just ate another fry and let the silence speak for her. The children chatted nonstop. Emma laughed more than Jennifer had seen in weeks. Jordan was radiant, showing off the car, telling invented stories. Did you see how it flies? Jordan held the car up in the air. Vroom, vroom, Emma imitated, holding up her little hands. The two laughed together as if they were siblings. Darius glanced sideways at Jennifer. They're already best friends. They are, she agreed, her voice soft. Emma doesn't usually talk this much. Neither does Jordan. He's quieter at home. Jennifer looked at him, curious. Really? Really? I think kids recognize kids. Maybe, Jennifer murmured. They continued eating. The conversation was light, not forced. Darius asked where she lived. If Emma went to school, simple things. Jennifer answered without going into detail. He didn't press. When they finished, Emma pushed the empty plate away and sighed contentedly. That was delicious. That's good, Darius said. Do you want dessert? Emma's eyes lit up, but Jennifer quickly answered. No, thank you. You've done too much already. Mom, Emma began, but stopped when she saw her mother's expression. Darius sensed the tension and changed the subject. It's okay, but if you want to come back here another day, we can arrange it. The kids enjoyed playing together. Jennifer looked at Emma, who was holding Jordan's toy car like a treasure. Perhaps, she said without promising anything. Jordan jumped off his chair. Emma, come look. You can make it go up like this, see? He placed the car on the back of the chair and made it slide down as if it were a ramp. Emma laughed and tried to do the same. Darius and Jennifer watched in silence. The diner continued its normal activity around them, but right there at that table, a bubble of peace seemed to exist. Thank you truly, Jennifer said again, this time looking directly at him. You have no idea how much this meant. Darius held her gaze for a second. There was something there. Tiredness, yes, but also strength, dignity. I think I do, he replied. She looked away, too emotional. After a few minutes, Jennifer stood up and called her daughter. Emma, sweetheart, we need to go. Emma pouted but obeyed. She carefully gave the toy car back to Jordan. Thank you for letting me play. Keep it, Jordan said, pushing the car back toward her. What? No, I can't. I have others at home. This one is yours now. Emma looked at her mother, uncertain. Jennifer was visibly touched, but couldn't deny her this. All right, but only if you thank him properly. Emma turned to Jordan and without warning gave him a hug. A tight hug, the kind children give when they really like someone. Thank you so much. Jordan turned red up to his ears but smiled broadly. You're welcome. Jennifer picked up her old bag and prepared to leave. Before going, she took some crumpled bills out of her jeans pocket. Let me pay for Emma's part at least. Darius raised his hand, gentle but firm. No need. But it was my pleasure. Really? Jennifer slowly put the money away, fighting her pride. But in the end, she just nodded. Thank you, Darius, from the bottom of my heart. See you next time, Jennifer. She smiled faintly, a tired but grateful smile, and left with Emma through the door. The little girl waved to Jordan through the glass window, holding the red toy car tenderly. Jordan waved back, still smiling, watching the two disappear down the street. When they were out of sight, Darius sat down again and looked at his son. You're incredible. You know that? Jordan shrugged, still looking out the window. She was hungry, Dad. Darius ran a hand through his son's hair and smiled, feeling his heart swell with pride. Sometimes the most important lessons came from the smallest people. And that night in a simple diner with warm lights and old tables, two families left with their hearts a little lighter than when they had entered. The sound of the door chime still echoed as Darius looked out the window one more time. Jennifer and Emma walked down the sidewalk, illuminated by the street lights, the girl hopping occasionally, holding the toy car. Jennifer looked down and smiled at her daughter, and for the first time that night, Darius saw her shoulders relax. He didn't know it yet, but that encounter was just the beginning of something much bigger. The alarm clock rang at 5:30 in the morning. Jennifer opened her eyes in the dark and turned off the alarm before it woke Emma. She lay there for another minute, looking at the cracked ceiling of the room. Her body was tired. It always was. She slowly got up, put her feet on the cold floor, and walked to the bathroom. The shower water took a while to warm up. While waiting, she looked at her reflection in the steamed-up mirror. 29 years old, she looked 40. She took a quick shower, put on her usual jeans and a clean shirt. She tied her blonde hair in a tight ponytail. She grabbed her old bag hanging on the chair and checked her cell phone. One message. "Hi, Jennifer. I'll have to cancel today's cleaning gig. Something unexpected came up. Sorry for the inconvenience." She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. It was the third time that month that the same client had canceled, always last minute, always with vague excuses. Jennifer typed in polite reply. "No problem. Just call if anything comes up." She put her cell phone away and went to Emma's room. The girl was sleeping on her side, hugging a faded teddy bear. Jennifer sat on the edge of the bed and lovingly ran a hand through her daughter's blonde hair. "Sweetheart, wake up. Mom needs to leave." Emma slowly opened her bright eyes and blinked. "Already?" "Already, my dear. Mrs. Patterson is coming to stay with you." "Okay." Emma rubbed her eyes and sat up in bed. "Okay, Mom." Jennifer helped her daughter get dressed, prepared a simple breakfast toast with butter and milk, and waited for the neighbor to arrive. Mrs. Patterson was a 60-year-old woman who lived in the apartment next door and watched Emma when Jennifer needed to leave early. "Good morning, dear," Mrs. Patterson said upon entering with a gentle smile. "Good morning, Mrs. Patterson." "Thank you for coming. Don't mention it. Emma is a darling." Jennifer crouched down and hugged her daughter. "Mom will be back later." "Okay, behave yourself." "Okay," Emma said, already sitting at the table, slowly chewing her toast. Jennifer left the apartment with a heavy heart. It always hurt to leave Emma. Always. She took the bus and went to the neighborhood where she had the best chance of finding work. She spent the whole morning calling old clients, asking if they needed a day job done. Some didn't answer. Others said they didn't need anything at the moment. "We'll call you when we need you." "Jennifer." Always the same phrase. Late in the afternoon, she managed to secure a day job for 3 days later. It was something, but it wasn't enough. She returned home late in the afternoon. Emma was drawing at the kitchen table with colored pencils that were already halfway used. "Hi, Mom." "Hi, my love," Jennifer said, picking her daughter up and covering her face with kisses. "What did you draw?" "A house with a garden." Jennifer looked at the drawing. A colorful little house, flowers in front, a yellow sun in the sky. "It's beautiful." Emma smiled, proud. "Will we have a house like this someday?" Jennifer felt her heart tighten. "Someday, love, someday." Mrs. Patterson said goodbye and left. Jennifer prepared dinner, rice, beans, and a fried egg. It was all they had. She put more food on Emma's plate and less on her own. "Mom, aren't you going to eat more?" Emma asked, looking at her mother's plate. "I ate a lot for lunch, sweetheart. I'm full." It was a lie, but Emma believed her. After dinner, Jennifer bathed her daughter, put her in her old but clean pajamas, and tucked her into bed. She read a short story, the same one Emma asked for every night, and kissed her on the forehead. "Good night, my treasure." "Good night, Mom. I love you." "I love you too." Jennifer turned off the light and went to the kitchen. She opened the refrigerator and looked inside. There wasn't much. A few eggs, a piece of cheese, half a carton of milk, some wilted vegetables. She needed to buy more groceries, but money was tight. She closed the refrigerator and went to the small table in the living room where she kept the bills. She sorted the envelopes, electricity bill, water bill, rent. She did the math in her head. Even with the day job she managed to get for 3 days from now, she would still be short on money. She sighed deeply. She was always short. The next day, she woke up early again. She took Emma to the local public preschool and went looking for more work. She walked all day, knocked on several doors, left her cell phone number in a few places. No one called. When she picked Emma up late in the afternoon, the teacher pulled Jennifer aside. "Can I speak with you for a minute?" Jennifer felt her stomach clench. "Of course." "It's about Emma's sneakers," the teacher said carefully. "They're pretty worn out. The toe is already torn open. I'm afraid she'll trip and hurt herself." Jennifer looked down, embarrassed. "I know. I'm trying to buy a new pair. I just need to save a little more." The teacher smiled understandingly. "No rush. I just wanted to let you know." "Okay. Thank you." Jennifer took Emma's hand and left, her face warm with shame. On the way home, she looked at her daughter's feet. The pink sneaker was truly finished. The open toe left her little toe exposed. "Mom, are you okay?" Emma asked, looking up. "I am, love. Why? You're quiet." Jennifer stopped, crouched down, and held her daughter's face in her hands. "Your sneaker is very worn out, isn't it? Is it hurting your foot?" Emma shook her head quickly. "No, Mom, it's fine." "Are you sure? Isn't it tight?" "No, it's really good," Emma said with a small smile. "I like them." Jennifer felt her eyes burn. She hugged her daughter tightly. "You are the best girl in the world. You know that?" Emma laughed and hugged her back. "I know, Mom." That night, after putting Emma to bed, Jennifer stayed up late, sitting in the kitchen with a cup of cold tea in her hand, looking at the bills spread out on the table. She did the math again and again and again. No matter how she calculated it, the result was always the same. She wouldn't make it. She leaned her head against the wall and closed her eyes. The tiredness weighed on her shoulders like a stone, but she couldn't give up. She didn't have that luxury. Emma depended on her. She took a deep breath, stood up, put the bills away, and went to sleep. Tomorrow would be another day, another attempt, another fight, and she would keep fighting. She always would because that's what mothers did. The next day, Jennifer managed to get a last-minute day job. An old client called saying they urgently needed help. Jennifer accepted immediately, even knowing she would earn less than usual. She worked all day, cleaned, organized, ironed clothes. When she finished, the client paid in cash. "Thank you, Jennifer. You saved my day." "Don't mention it. Just call if you need anything." On the way home, Jennifer stopped at a small market. She bought the basics: rice, beans, eggs, milk, bread. She looked at the fruit section and picked up 2 apples. Emma loved apples. In the checkout line, she saw a window display with children's sneakers. There was a pink one, tiny Emma's size. She asked the price. It was too expensive. She put the thought aside and moved on. Someday, she would buy those sneakers. When she arrived home, Emma ran to the door. "Mom!" Jennifer dropped the bags and picked her daughter up, twirling around with her. "Hi, my love. Did you miss me?" "I did," Emma said, laughing. Jennifer prepared dinner. This time there was a little more food. She put a good portion on Emma's plate and ate a little herself, too. After dinner, the two sat on the old sofa and watched a cartoon on the small television. Emma snuggled up in her mother's lap, holding the red toy car Jordan had given her. "Mom, when will we see Jordan again?" Jennifer ran a hand through her daughter's blonde hair. "I don't know, love. We just ran into them by chance that day. He's my friend." "I know. He's a very nice boy." Emma was quiet for a moment, playing with the car. "His dad is nice, too." Jennifer smiled faintly. "He is." And it was true. Darius had been kind, respectful, non-judgmental. She didn't know if she would see him again, but a small part of her hoped so. Sunday dawn, sunny. Jennifer decided to take Emma to the park. It didn't cost anything, and the girl deserved some fun. She prepared 2 simple sandwiches, filled a water bottle, and they walked out of the house. The park was small but nice. It had a few swings, a slide, wooden benches under the trees. There were always children running everywhere, shouting, laughing, being kids. "Can I go on the swing, Mom?" "You can, love, but stay where I can see you." Okay, okay. Emma ran off, her worn sneakers hitting the dirt ground. Jennifer sat on an empty bench, placed her bag beside her, and watched her daughter. Emma climbed onto the swing and started swinging, her blonde hair flying in the wind. Jennifer smiled. Moments like this were rare, but they were worth everything. Suddenly, Emma stopped swinging. She looked toward one side of the park and her eyes widened. "Jordan!" She jumped off the swing and ran off. Jennifer immediately stood up, trying to see where her daughter was going. And then she saw Jordan was near the slide, and with a ball in his hands and beside him in jeans and a simple t-shirt was Darius. Emma ran up to Jordan without any hesitation. "Jordan, it's you." The boy turned and his face lit up. "Emma." The two hugged like old friends who hadn't seen each other in years. Darius smiled at the scene and looked up, searching. He found Jennifer standing a few feet away. Their eyes met. He smiled and waved. Jennifer waved back, feeling her face warm up slightly. Darius walked toward her with his hands in his pockets. "Hi." "Hi," Jennifer replied, still a little awkward. "Quite a coincidence, huh?" "It is. I didn't expect to see you here." "We come almost every Sunday," Darius said, looking at the children who were already playing with the ball. "Jordan loves this park. Emma does too. It's her favorite place." Darius pointed to the bench. "Want to sit down? I think they'll be playing for a while." Jennifer hesitated, but eventually agreed. "All right." The two sat on the bench, maintaining a respectful distance. They watched the children in silence for a few minutes. Jordan kicked the ball to Emma, who ran after it, laughing loudly. "They look like siblings," Darius commented. "They really do," Jennifer agreed, smiling faintly. Darius turned his body slightly towards her. "Does Emma have siblings?" Jennifer shook her head. "No, it's just the two of us." He nodded without asking more questions. Jennifer appreciated that. Most people pressed, wanted to know more, judged. "What about Jordan?" she asked, returning the curiosity. "It's just the two of us too," Darius replied, looking at his son. "His mother passed away when he was 2. Jennifer felt a pang in her chest. "I'm sorry." "Thank you. It's been 3 years now. It still hurts, but we're learning to live with it." She didn't know what to say, so she just stayed quiet, and Darius seemed to be grateful for that. They continued watching the children. Jordan and Emma were now inventing some crazy game, laughing and running around. "Did you grow up in this city?" Darius asked after a while. "No, I came from another state. I came to try for a better life, you know." "Did you succeed?" Jennifer gave a sad smile. "I'm still trying." Darius nodded non-judgmentally. "What about you?" Jennifer asked. "Were you born here?" "I was born here, grew up, studied, worked. I've actually never left." "It must be nice to have roots. It is. But sometimes I think I lost some things along the way. I got so focused on work that I forgot to live." Jennifer looked at him, surprised by his honesty. "At least you realized it. Some people never do." Darius smiled faintly. "That's true." They fell silent again, but it wasn't an uncomfortable silence. It was peaceful, natural. "When you were a kid, what did you want to be?" Darius asked, turning his body slightly more toward her. Jennifer blinked, taken aback by the question. "Me? Oh, I don't know. I guess a teacher. I like teaching the other kids to read." "That's lovely. And you?" Darius laughed. "A firefighter." Jennifer laughed too, imagining him as a child dreaming of that. "Seriously?" "Seriously. I thought the red truck was the greatest thing." "Every boy does." "It's true." They laughed together, and for the first time Jennifer felt she could relax, that she didn't have to pretend to be strong all the time. "And today, do you still have dreams?" Darius asked, his voice softer. Jennifer was quiet for a moment, thinking. Small ones, to have a steady job, not to worry so much about money, to see Emma grow up happy. Those are beautiful dreams. And yours? Darius looked at his son, who was now teaching Emma how to kick the ball properly. To see Jordan grow up to be a good person, not to spoil him with money or material things, to teach him to value what really matters. Jennifer felt a tightening in her chest. It was rare to find someone who thought that way. You're doing a good job. He's an amazing kid. Thank you. Emma is too. You're raising her very well. Jennifer looked away, emotional. I do what I can. It's more than many people do. They watched the children again. Jordan had taken off his sneakers and was running barefoot. Emma laughed, trying to imitate him. That's when Darius noticed her sneaker was very worn out. The toe was open. He could see her little toe inside, and he didn't say anything. He just stored that information in his heart without asking questions, without judging. What do you do for work? Jennifer asked, breaking the silence. Darius hesitated. He didn't want to lie, but he also didn't want to scare her off. I work in investments. Nothing very exciting. That must be complicated sometimes. And you? I do day cleaning gigs, cleaning, organizing, those kinds of things. That must be tiring. Jennifer shrugged. It is. But at least I choose my hours and I can spend more time with Emma. Darius nodded, admiring her strength. It wasn't easy to raise a child alone. He knew that. Mom! Emma shouted from afar. Look how I kick! She kicked the ball with all her might, and the ball flew far. Jordan ran after it, laughing. Jennifer and Darius exchanged a look and smiled. There's something else, Darius said. They really are. The children played for over an hour. They invented crazy games, climbed on the low trees, rolled around in the grass. They were dirty, sweaty, and completely happy. Darius and Jennifer continued talking about simple things, old movies they liked, favorite foods, places they'd like to visit someday. It wasn't anything profound, but it was real, and the two felt something growing there, a friendship, a connection. When the sun began to set, Jennifer stood up. I think we need to go. Darius stood up too. We do too, it's getting late. They called the children who came running, complaining. Already, Mom. Already, my love, tomorrow is a school day. Emma pouted but obeyed. She turned to Jordan. Bye, Jordan. Bye, Emma. Will we see each other again? Emma looked at her mother full of hope. Maybe, sweetheart, if we run into each other again. Jordan looked at his dad. Dad, can we come back here next Sunday? Darius looked at Jennifer, who blushed slightly. We can. We usually come anyway. Jennifer nodded, not promising anything, but not denying it either. Then maybe we'll see each other. Maybe. The four walked together to the park exit. There, they said goodbye. The children hugged again. Darius and Jennifer just nodded to each other, but their look said more than words. On the way back home, Emma wouldn't stop talking. Mom, I had so much fun. Jordan is so nice. We invented lots of games, and he taught me how to kick the ball. Jennifer smiled, listening to her daughter chatter. That's good, my love. I'm happy you had fun. I liked his dad, too. He's nice. He is. Emma held her mother's hand tightly. We're coming back there, right, Mom? Jennifer squeezed the small hand. We'll try, love. And deep down in her heart, she knew she would because for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel alone. The letter arrived on a Tuesday. Jennifer was preparing breakfast when she heard the sound of mail being pushed under the door. She left the toast on the griddle and went to retrieve it. A white envelope, Sender Apartment Management Company. She knew what it was even before opening it. She slowly tore the envelope and read, Dear tenant, we inform you of the annual rent adjustment as per contract. Jennifer's eyes scanned the numbers. $200 more per month. $200 she didn't have. She sat down in the kitchen chair and reread the letter 3 times as if the numbers would magically change. They didn't. Mom, the toast is burning. Jennifer jumped up and took the toast off the griddle. It was black on the edges. She scraped off the burnt part and buttered it. "Sorry, love." "It's okay," Emma said, biting into the toast without complaining. Jennifer drank her coffee in silence, her head spinning. She needed more work. She needed it urgently. After dropping Emma off at school, she called every client she had. Most didn't answer. The ones who did said they didn't need anyone right now. Late that morning, she received a message. It was from Mrs. Rodriguez, the monthly client who always called Jennifer every Monday. "Hi, Jennifer. I need to let you know I won't be needing your services anymore. My daughter is moving in and will take care of the house. Sorry. Good luck." Jennifer read the message 3 times, too. Monday was the day that paid part of her rent. It was the most guaranteed job she had past tense. She took a deep breath and replied, "No problem. Thank you for everything." She put her cell phone away and leaned her head against the wall of the bus stop. She needed to stay calm. She would figure it out. She always did, or almost always. On Thursday, she received another call. It was from Mrs. Thompson, who called her to do day jobs occasionally. "Hi, Jennifer. How are you?" "I'm good, Mrs. Thompson. And you?" "Look, I'm calling to let you know I found another cleaning person. A friend referred her, and she charged less." "I'm sorry, Jennifer." Jennifer felt her stomach churn. "No problem, Mrs. Thompson. Thanks for letting me know. Good luck." "Okay, thank you." She hung up the phone and stood still in the middle of the street. People hurried past her. No one noticed. No one saw. She was invisible. She went home without getting any work. She paid for the bus fare and counted the money left in her wallet. It wasn't enough. Not by a long shot. On Friday morning, she woke up to a message. It was from Mrs. Chen, for whom she had scheduled a day job on Saturday. "Jennifer, it will have to be another day. My husband is sick, and the house is a mess. It won't work for you to come now. I'll let you know when it can be. Okay." Jennifer didn't even reply right away. She just stared at her phone, feeling her throat tighten. 4 jobs lost in 1 week. 4. And the rent had increased. She stood up, went to the kitchen, and sat on the chair. She took out the notebook where she wrote down the bills. She did the math again. Even cutting everything superfluous, which was already almost nothing, she would still be short on money. She thought about taking out a loan. But from whom? She didn't have family here. She didn't have close friends. Mrs. Patterson was already helping enough just by looking after Emma. She closed the notebook and put her head in her hands. She couldn't give up, but she also didn't know what else to do. The weekend was heavy. Jennifer spent Saturday and Sunday looking for work. She left resumes at stores, markets, restaurants. No one was hiring. Emma noticed something was wrong. "Mom, are you sad?" "No, love. Just a little tired." "Do you want me to draw you a picture? Drawing always makes people happy." Jennifer pulled her daughter onto her lap and hugged her tightly. "I would love a picture from you." Emma ran to her room and came back with paper and colored pencils. She sat on the floor and started drawing. Jennifer watched, trying not to cry. When she finished, Emma proudly held up the paper. "Done. It's me and you, and it says I love you." Jennifer took the drawing with trembling hands. "It's beautiful, my love." "Thank you." Emma smiled broadly. "You're welcome, Mom. Are you happy now?" Jennifer forced a smile. "I am now." But inside she was broken. On Monday, she took Emma to school and went straight back home. She sat at the kitchen table with all the bills spread out in front of her. Rent, electricity, water, food, bus fare. She did the math one more time and another and another. No matter how she calculated it, the result was the same. She wouldn't make it. She thought about talking to the landlord, asking for an extension, but she knew he wouldn't accept. He had already warned other tenants in the past. Late payment meant eviction. She took a deep breath and picked up her cell phone. She called more clients, left voicemails, sent messages on WhatsApp. No one replied. Late that afternoon, when she went to pick Emma up from school, the girl came skipping. "Mom, The teacher said we're having a special snack tomorrow. Jennifer smiled, even with a heavy heart. That's great, love. Are you okay, Mom? Your eyes are red. It's allergies, my dear. It's nothing. Emma took her mother's hand. Shall we go home? Let's go. On the way, Emma hummed softly. Jennifer looked at her daughter and felt her heart tighten. Emma didn't deserve to go through this. She deserved a better life. She deserved everything. That night, after putting Emma to bed, Jennifer stayed up late, sitting on the old sofa with a blanket over her shoulders, looking at the ceiling. She thought about giving up, thought about going back to the state she came from. But there was nothing waiting for her there either. She thought about asking for help, but from whom? She thought about Darius, his gentle way, the way he looked at her without judging. But no, she couldn't ask him for help. She barely knew him, and he'd already done too much. She would figure it out on her own. She had to. On Tuesday morning, she woke up to a message. It was from an old client who hadn't called for months. Hi, Jennifer. Are you available on Thursday? I need a cleaning gig done, Jennifer replied in less than 5 seconds. Yes. What time? 8 hours in the morning. Is that okay? Yes, it is. Thank you. It was one-day job. Just one, but it was something. A small breath of air in a month that was suffocating her. Jennifer got up, made coffee, woke Emma, and carried on with the day. Because that's what she did. She kept going always, even when everything seemed impossible. Even when the whole world seemed to be collapsing, she kept going for Emma. Always for Emma. The Sundays at the park became routine. Every week, Jennifer and Emma arrived around 10 hours in the morning, and every week, Darius and Jordan were already there waiting. The children ran to each other the second they saw each other. Darius and Jennifer greeted each other with discreet smiles and sat on the same bench as always. But that Sunday, Darius noticed something different. Jennifer was quieter. Her eyes had a shadow that hadn't been there before. She smiled when Emma talked to her, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. Her shoulders seemed heavier, as if carrying an invisible weight. He didn't ask. Not in front of the children. They watched Jordan and Emma play for a while. The two children had invented a crazy game where they pretended to be superheroes, saving the park from imaginary villains. Jordan made funny voices, and Emma laughed nonstop. Is she okay? Darius asked softly, glancing sideways at Jennifer. Jennifer blinked, taken by surprise. Who you? She forced a smile and looked away. I am just tired. Darius nodded slowly but didn't look convinced. He knew that kind of tiredness. It wasn't just physical, it was the exhaustion of someone fighting alone. He was quiet for a few minutes, just observing. Then he pulled out a bag that was next to him on the bench. Oh, I brought some snacks. I made too many sandwiches at home. Do you want some? Jennifer looked at the bag and hesitated. You don't have to. I know. But they'll go bad if no one eats them, and the kids will love them. He stood up and called the two, Jordan, Emma, come have a snack. The children ran over, sweaty and full of energy. Emma's blonde hair stuck to her forehead, her cheeks flushed from running so much. Darius opened the bag and pulled out sandwiches wrapped in aluminum foil, juice boxes, some cut-up fruit in containers, and cookies. It was much more than two people would eat alone. Emma looked with shining eyes. For me, too. Of course, Darius said, handing her a sandwich. Take whatever you want. The children sat on the grass side by side and began to eat. Jordan offered half of his cookie to Emma, who accepted, smiling. Darius offered a sandwich to Jennifer. Eat seriously. Jennifer took it, her throat tight. She knew he had done it on purpose. She knew he had noticed things were difficult, but he didn't say anything. He didn't make it look like charity. He didn't pry. He just shared. Thank you, she said softly, her eyes fixed on the sandwich. Don't mention it. They ate in silence. Jennifer couldn't remember the last time she had eaten something so tasty. The sandwich had cheese, ham, lettuce, tomato, simple things but made with care. You could tell someone had prepared it thoughtfully. Emma ate 2 whole sandwiches and still grabbed an apple, biting into it with satisfaction. "That was delicious, Uncle Darius." "I'm glad you liked it, little one." When they finished, Darius carefully put the trash back in the bag. He watched the children go back to playing, chasing each other between the trees. "Jennifer," he said, his voice soft and careful, "I have some friends who are looking for someone to do day cleaning gigs. Can I give them your number?" Jennifer turned her face quickly to him, her eyes wide. "Really? Really? They are trustworthy people. I've known them for years. Good people. If you want me to, of course." Her eyes filled with tears that she held back forcefully, blinking several times. I do want to. Yes, thank you." Darius shrugged as if it were no big deal. "I'll send them your number today. They'll probably call you this week. Thank you, Darius. Truly." He looked at her with that calm gaze, full of understanding and something else she couldn't identify. "We help those we care about." Jennifer looked away, her heart beating faster. She felt her cheeks warm. The following Wednesday, Jennifer received 3 calls, all from Darius's friends, all needing cleaners for day jobs, all polite, respectful, offering fair pay and flexible hours. Jennifer accepted all 3 jobs. For the first time in weeks, she felt she could breathe, that maybe, just maybe, she would be able to pay the bills that month. On the following Sundays, Darius always brought snacks, sometimes sandwiches with different fillings, sometimes fresh-cut fruit, sometimes homemade cookies he claimed to have made with Jordan. He always said he had made too much, or that it was leftover from the week. Jennifer knew he was lying, but she accepted with silent gratitude because she knew he did it to preserve her dignity. One Sunday, it started pouring just as they were about to leave. A heavy downpour, the kind of storm that appears out of nowhere. Darius looked at the dark sky and then at Jennifer, who was putting Emma's things into her bag. "Did you come by bus?" "We always come by bus." "Let me give you a ride. It's raining too hard." Jennifer hesitated, biting her lip. "You don't have to." "I know, but it will take a while for a bus to pass, and Emma will get soaked. It's already getting cold." Emma, who was standing next to Jordan, holding his hand, pulled on her mother's sleeve. "Mom, I want to ride in the car with Jordan." Jennifer looked at her daughter, her bright eyes full of hope, then at Darius, and sighed. "All right, thank you." Darius's car was nice, but discreet. It didn't draw attention. Jordan and Emma sat in the back seat, talking non-stop about the games they had invented. Darius drove calmly, and Jennifer sat quietly in the passenger seat, watching the rain through the window. "Where do you live?" Darius asked, his eyes on the road. Jennifer gave him the address, and he put it into the GPS. They were in comfortable silence during the drive. The rain beat hard on the glass, and the radio played a soft song faintly. When they arrived in front of Jennifer's building, she turned to him. "Thank you for the ride. Seriously. Anytime you need it, you don't even have to ask." Jennifer got out of the car and helped Emma out. The two waved before entering the building. Darius stayed there watching until they safely entered and the door closed. Then he drove away. From that day on, whenever it rained, Darius gave them a ride. He never made it seem like a favor. He always said it was on his way, even when it clearly wasn't. Jennifer knew, but she didn't argue anymore because deep down she was grateful, and because his company made her heart feel good. The park meetings became the favorite part of the week for both families. Jordan and Emma were inseparable now. They played everything, invented elaborate stories, laughed non-stop, shared snacks, helped each other climb trees. They seemed like real siblings. And Darius and Jennifer talked more and more. They talked about books they liked, music they listened to when they were younger, childhood memories, small dreams they still kept in their hearts. Darius told her about the wife he lost, his voice soft, full of longing but not bitterness. Jennifer listened attentively, non-judgmentally, just present. Jennifer told him about the difficulty of raising Emma alone without going into too many tough details. But being honest about the weight she carried, Darius listened without offering cheap solutions or unsolicited advice. And little by little, without realizing it, they began to truly trust each other. One Sunday, Emma stumbled while running after Jordan and scraped her knee on the pavement. She started to cry, the loud, startled cry of a child who has been hurt. Jennifer ran to her, but Darius got there first. He carefully picked the girl up. "Easy, little one. Let me see." Emma sobbed, holding her knee with both little hands. "It hurts, Uncle Darius." Darius sat on a bench and gently placed Emma on his lap. Jennifer arrived soon after, worried, her face pale. "Let me see, love." "It's just a scrape," Darius said calmly, examining her knee. "Nothing serious. I have a Band-Aid in the car. She'll be right back." He went to the car and returned with a first aid kit. He carefully cleaned Emma's knee using a moist wipe, applied antibiotic ointment, and a colorful Band-Aid with a golden star pattern. "There, now you're a real superhero. Every superhero has battle scars." Emma stopped crying and looked at the Band-Aid with admiration. "Really?" "Really? Superman has lots. Batman, too." She smiled, tears still wetting her cheeks, and jumped off his lap. "Thank you, Uncle Darius. Now I'm strong." And she ran back to play with Jordan, who was waiting eagerly. Jennifer looked at Darius with watery eyes. "Thank you." "No need to thank me. I have practice. Jordan is always getting hurt." But the way he had taken care of Emma with so much gentleness and affection, as if she were his own daughter, touched Jennifer's heart in a way she hadn't expected. The weeks went by. Darius always found small ways to help. Always discreet, always respectful, always without making a fuss. Once he brought a new coloring book for Emma, saying he had bought it by mistake, and the store wouldn't accept returns. Another time he brought Jordan's clothes that no longer fit, asking if Jennifer knew anyone who could use them. The clothes were practically new. Jennifer knew what he was doing, but he did it with so much care, with so much delicacy that she couldn't refuse because he never made her feel small. He never made her feel less. And little by little, she started to feel something different. It wasn't just gratitude, it was affection. It was admiration. It was something that made her heart race when she saw him arriving at the park. One Sunday, while the children were playing hide-and-seek, Darius looked at Jennifer and smiled. "They know I wait all week for Sunday." Jennifer felt her face warm up. "And you do." "I do, because I know I'll see you too. It makes the week worthwhile." She didn't know how to respond, so she just smiled back, her heart beating too fast. Darius didn't press. He just continued sitting there watching the children, but inside he was also feeling something grow, something he hadn't felt in years. Emma jumped onto Jennifer's lap, suddenly full of energy. "Mom, can I play at Jordan's house someday?" Jennifer blinked, surprised by the question. "Love, that's something we have to arrange beforehand." "She can come any day," Darius said, looking at Jennifer sincerely. "Seriously, if you want to, of course, maybe on a Saturday. The kids would love to spend more time together." Emma put her hands together, pleading with wide and bright eyes. "Please, Mom, please." Jennifer looked at Darius, uncertain. "Are you sure?" "Absolutely. And you can come along if you want. We can have lunch. Something simple. Pizza, maybe." Jennifer hesitated, but seeing her daughter's shining eyes, she nodded slowly. "All right, we can try." Emma screamed with joy and jumped off her lap, running to tell Jordan. The two celebrated as if they had won the lottery, jumping and shouting. Darius and Jennifer exchanged a look and laughed together. "I don't think there's any turning back now," Jennifer said. "I guess not," Darius agreed, smiling. And for the first time in a long time, Jennifer wasn't afraid of it because with Darius, everything felt lighter, safer, more certain. At the end of that Sunday, when they said goodbye near the car, Darius held Jennifer's hand for a second longer than usual. "I'm glad we met at that diner." Jennifer squeezed his hand back, feeling his warm skin against hers. "Me too." And when they left, each going their separate way, they both knew something had changed between them. It was no longer just a casual park friendship. It was something bigger, something deeper, something that was growing slowly, carefully, but truly and solidly. And neither of them was in a rush, because the best things in life don't need to be rushed. They just need to be felt, and they were feeling it. Thursday started like any other. Jennifer woke up early, got Emma ready for the day, left the girl with Mrs. Patterson, and took the bus to the wealthy part of the city. She had managed to secure a day job in a luxury building through one of Darius's referrals. The building was impressive. Marble lobby, security at the entrance, mirrored elevator. Jennifer felt small entering there, but took a deep breath and carried on. The apartment was on the 12th floor. It was huge and completely empty. White walls, shining porcelain floor, enormous windows with a view of the city. It was being prepared for sale. The realtor who hired Jennifer quickly explained, "I need you to leave everything spotless. We're showing the apartment this afternoon to some important clients. Call me if anything comes up." "You can count on me." The woman left, and Jennifer was alone in that giant space. She put on her work clothes, old pants, a simple shirt, worn sneakers, tied her blonde hair in a tight bun, and started working. She cleaned every room carefully. The bathrooms, the kitchen, the windows, everything had to shine. Around 2 in the afternoon, she was kneeling in the living room, cleaning the floor with a cloth. The bucket of water and soap was beside her. Her hands were red from scrubbing so much. She was so focused that she didn't even hear the footsteps in the hallway. The door suddenly opened. Jennifer looked up startled. A man in a suit entered. Gray hair, a leather briefcase in his hand. Behind him came 3 others, 2 assistants with tablets, an investment manager with glasses and a serious expression. And then Darius Washington walked in. Jennifer felt her heart stop. He was wearing a suit, an impeccable dark suit that probably cost more than she earned in 6 months, a white shirt without a single crease, a perfectly aligned navy blue tie, shining shoes. His close-cropped hair was perfectly lined, his dark skin radiant under the afternoon light streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows. His posture was straight, confident. The expression on his face was serious, focused. He was talking on his cell phone as he entered. "Yes, I saw the numbers. The appreciation is within expectations. We can close." His voice was firm, assured, authoritative. It wasn't the soft voice that talked to her at the park. It was the voice of someone who commanded millions. Jennifer was paralyzed, still kneeling on the floor, the bucket beside her, the wet cloth in her hand, her old work clothes clinging to her body. The realtor began to speak, pointing to different parts of the apartment. "As you can see, the space is ample. 3,000 square FT, 3 suites, all with walk-in closets, gourmet balcony, privileged view." Darius hung up his phone and looked around with analytical eyes. "How much will the renovation cost?" "We estimate between 80 and 100,000, the investment manager replied, checking his tablet. "It's worth it. This floor has potential. What is the estimated resale value after the renovation?" 2.5 million, maybe 2.8 if we do premium finishes. Darius nodded, thinking. "It makes sense. Let's go with the premium finish. I want a quick closing, 2 weeks maximum." He walked through the apartment with firm steps. He looked at details. He asked technical questions. He spoke of huge numbers as if they were nothing. Jennifer was partially hidden by the door that had been left ajar. They hadn't noticed her yet. They were too focused on the conversation, the numbers, the possibilities. She couldn't take her eyes off Darius. He was powerful, elegant, influential, completely different from the Darius at the park. The Darius who played with Jordan, the Darius who brought extra sandwiches and smiled gently. That was Darius Washington, the billionaire, the investor, the man who moved millions with a signature. And she was here kneeling on the floor in old clothes with hands red from cleaning so much. A cleaning lady. The shame hit like a wave, strong, suffocating. I don't belong in his world. The thought came, painful. She had been naive. She had thought they were the same, that he was just a single dad trying to raise his son, someone like her. But he wasn't. He belonged to that world of expensive suits, of million-dollar apartments, of decisions that changed lives with a stroke of a pen. And she cleaned the floors of those apartments. One of the assistants turned in her direction. Jennifer quickly stood up, grabbed the bucket with trembling hands, and slipped out the side door that led to the utility area. She closed the door behind her and leaned against it, her heart pounding wildly. She heard the voices continue in the living room. Darius talking about renovations, the realtor responding, numbers being discussed. She waited, quiet, invisible. When the voices moved away, going to another room, Jennifer quickly grabbed her things. She put everything in her bag. She didn't finish the cleaning. She couldn't stay there. She left via the service stairs. She went down 12 flights without stopping. When she reached the ground floor, she was breathless, but she didn't stop. She hurried through the lobby with her head down and walked out onto the street. Only when she was far away, 2 blocks away, did she stop and lean against a wall. The tears came without warning. She cried there in the street, hidden behind the old sunglasses she carried in her bag. She cried for the shame, for the humiliation, for the absurd difference between their 2 worlds. She cried because she had started to like him, to trust him, to imagine that, maybe. But no, there was no maybe. She was just another person he helped, a charity project, someone he felt pity for. She wiped her tears away angrily and went home. That night, Darius sent a message. "Hi, Jennifer. How was your day?" She stared at the message for long minutes. She only replied the next day. "Busy, lots of gigs." Short, curt. Darius found it strange but didn't press. On Saturday, he sent another message. "Will we see you tomorrow at the park?" Jennifer took hours to reply. "I won't be able to make it. I have a day job on Sunday." 2. It was a lie, but she couldn't see him, not after what she had seen. Darius frowned as he read the reply. It wasn't like her, but he sent an understanding response. "That's okay. Another time then. Take care." Jennifer didn't reply. On Sunday, Darius and Jordan went to the park as usual. Jordan kept looking at the entrance the whole time, waiting to see Emma appear. "Dad, and where's Emma?" "She's not coming today, champ. Her mom is working." "But she always comes on Sunday." "I know, but sometimes things change." Jordan was quiet, kicking the grass with his sneaker. "I miss her." Darius ran a hand through his son's hair. "Me too." And it was true. He missed Emma and Jennifer. He sent another message in the middle of the week. "Hi, is everything okay? You disappeared." Jennifer read it and didn't reply. Darius started to get worried. He tried calling. She didn't answer. He sent more messages, short replies when there was a reply. "I'm fine. Just busy. We'll talk later." But later never came. Emma noticed something was wrong. "Mom, are we not going to the park anymore?" "We are, love. Just not right now. But I want to see Jordan." "I know, but Mom is very busy with work." Emma pouted but didn't insist. But Jennifer saw the sadness in her daughter's bright eyes, and that hurt more than anything. Darius, in turn, didn't understand anything. He reread their conversations, trying to find something he might have said wrong, something that might have offended her. He found nothing. Jordan asked about Emma every day. "Dad, call Jennifer. Ask if Emma can come over to play." "I tried, champ. She's very busy. But she likes us." "Right?" Darius sighed. I think so. But the truth was he didn't know anymore. 2 weeks passed. 2 weeks without seeing each other, without talking properly. Darius felt an emptiness he hadn't felt in years since his wife died. He had gotten used to Jennifer, her presence, the way she made him feel, and now she had disappeared without explanation, without apparent reason, and he didn't know why because he hadn't seen her in that apartment. He had no idea she was there kneeling, cleaning the floor, while he talked about millions. He didn't know she had seen who he really was, the world he came from. He didn't know she had felt small, invisible, unworthy. All Darius knew was that Jennifer had pulled away, and that hurt more than he expected, much more. Darius endured 3 weeks, 3 weeks of unanswered messages, of ignored calls, of empty Sundays at the park with Jordan asking about Emma. On Saturday night, he made a decision. He would go to her house. He needed to understand. He needed to know what had happened because the silence was killing him inside. On Sunday morning, he told Jordan they were going for a visit. "Are we going to see Emma?" the boy asked, his eyes shining with hope. "We're going to try." Jordan celebrated quietly. Darius took the address he had saved on his phone. He put Jordan in the car and drove to Jennifer's neighborhood. It was far from the area where he lived. Older buildings, narrower streets, people walking around. He parked in front of her building. It wasn't luxurious. The paint was peeling in some spots, but it was clean, organized. "Stay here for a minute, champ. I'll see if they're home." "Okay." "Dad?" Darius got out of the car and entered the building. He climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor. The hallway smelled of home cooking. The sound of a television came from somewhere. He stopped in front of apartment 304. He took a deep breath. He knocked 3 times. Silence. He knocked again. He heard footsteps on the other side. The door slowly opened. Jennifer appeared, loose blonde hair, old sweatpants, a simple t-shirt, her bright eyes wide with surprise. "Darius?" "Hi." She stood still, not knowing what to do. "What are you doing here?" "I needed to see you." Jennifer looked around nervously. I'm a little busy right now." "Jennifer, please," Darius said, his voice soft but firm. "I just want to talk 5 minutes." She bit her lip, looked back into the apartment, then at him again. "All right. But out here?" She stepped out into the hallway and closed the door behind her. She crossed her arms in a defensive posture. Darius put his hands in his pockets. "You disappeared." "I was busy." "I know it's not just that." Jennifer looked away. "Darius, I really have to." "I missed you," he interrupted, his voice cracking slightly. "Jordan and we miss you both, a lot." Jennifer closed her eyes, feeling her throat tighten. "Darius, what happened? Did I do something wrong? Did I say something that hurt you? Please tell me because I'm lost here." She shook her head, tears starting to gather. "You didn't do anything wrong." "Then why did you run away from me?" Jennifer opened her eyes and looked at him. The tears streamed down. "I saw you." Darius frowned. "What do you mean?" "At the building, 3 weeks ago. I was working a cleaning gig in a luxury apartment. You came in with a bunch of people, impeccable suit, talking about millions." Her voice broke. "And I was there kneeling, cleaning the floor." Darius felt his heart clench. He hadn't even seen her. Had no idea. "Jennifer, you didn't see me," she continued angrily, wiping away tears. "But I saw you, and I understood. I understood who you really are, the world you come from. And she sobbed. "I don't belong in that world, Darius." "Jennifer, no. You're a billionaire. You talk about millions like it's nothing. And me, I clean floors. I can barely pay the rent. I wear old clothes. And—" she covered her face with her hands. "I felt so small, so invisible." Darius took a step forward and gently held her wrists, pulling her hands away from her face. "Look at me." She tried to pull away. but he held her firmly. "Jennifer, look at me. Please." She raised her eyes, tears flowing freely. Darius held her face in both hands with all the tenderness in the world. His warm brown skin against her pale cheeks, his dark eyes filled with emotion. "I don't care about status. I don't care about money. I don't care if you clean floors or if you run a company. None of that matters to me. But what matters," he continued, his voice trembling with emotion, "is who you are. And you are incredible. You are strong. You are brave. You raise Emma alone, even when everything seems impossible. You never give up. You love so deeply that you can feel it just by looking." Jennifer sobbed, the tears falling faster. "You and Emma, you are good for me and Jordan. You made us feel alive again. You brought joy back into our lives. And I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose you. Darius, I don't know. I know we come from different worlds," he said, wiping her tears with his thumbs. "I know there are differences, but none of that matters when we're together. Don't you feel it too?" Jennifer nodded, unable to speak. "Then don't run away from me. Don't hide. Please." She closed her eyes and rested her forehead against his. "I was so scared." "Scared of what?" "Of not being enough." Darius pulled her into a hug. Jennifer hid her face in his chest and cried. She cried out everything she had held in for the past 3 weeks. He held her tightly, running a hand up and down her back, letting her release everything. "You are more than enough," he whispered. "You are perfect just the way you are." Jennifer gripped his shirt with her hands, feeling his scent, feeling his warmth. For the first time in weeks, she felt safe. They stayed that way for long minutes, embracing in the simple hallway, with the sound of neighbors in the background, with the smell of home cooking in the air. Jennifer finally pulled away. Her eyes were red, but she felt lighter. "I'm sorry I disappeared." "You don't have to apologize. I just wanted to understand." She wiped her face with her hands. I think I was starting to like you. Really like you." Darius smiled faintly. "I was starting to like you too. And when you disappeared, it hurt." Jennifer gave a shy smile. "It hurt a lot." They looked at each other for a moment. There was something different in the air now. Something deeper, more real. "Jordan is downstairs in the car," Darius said. "He really wants to see Emma." Jennifer's eyes brightened. "Emma will freak out. She asks about him every day. So, shall we make them happy?" Jennifer nodded, genuinely smiling for the first time in weeks. "Let's go." She went into the apartment and returned with Emma, who was still in pajamas, her blonde hair messy. When Emma saw Darius in the hallway, she ran and jumped into his arms. "Uncle Darius, you came." Darius picked her up, laughing. "I did, little one, and Jordan is waiting for you downstairs." "Jordan, really? Really?" Emma looked at her mother, her eyes pleading. "Can I go, Mom, please?" Jennifer smiled. "You can, but put some clothes on first." Emma ran to her room, excited. Darius and Jennifer were alone again. He held out his hand. She took it. "Thank you for coming," she said softly. "I will always come any time you need me." Jennifer squeezed his hand, feeling her confidence slowly return. Maybe, just maybe, they could make this work. A week after the conversation in the hallway, Darius called Jennifer. "Hi, are you home this afternoon?" "I am. Why?" "Jordan and I wanted to come for a visit, if it's not too much trouble." Jennifer smiled on the other end of the line. "Of course, it's not too much trouble. You're always welcome, so we'll stop by around 3. "Perfect." When she hung up, Jennifer looked at the apartment. It was small, simple, nothing compared to Darius's world, but it was clean. It was organized. It was home. She quickly tidied the living room, put some things away, and told Emma. "Jordan is coming to visit us soon." Emma jumped off the sofa. "Really? Today?" "Today." The girl ran to her room to choose which toy she would show her friend. At exactly 3 as, the doorbell rang. Emma ran to the door even before Jennifer got there. She opened it and found Jordan standing there, smiling broadly. "Jordan!" "Emma!" The two hugged as if they hadn't seen each other in months, even though they had met at the park the previous Sunday. Darius was behind his son, holding a simple box wrapped in brown craft paper. He smiled at Jennifer. "Hi. Hi. Come in." They entered the small apartment. Darius looked around attentively, not with judgment, but with genuine curiosity. He saw Emma's drawing stuck to the refrigerator with magnets. He saw the photos on the wall. He saw the old but clean sofa, the scratched coffee table, the small television. He saw a home built with love and sacrifice. "Make yourselves comfortable," Jennifer said, feeling a little awkward. "Thank you." The children had already disappeared into Emma's room, their excited voices echoing down the hall. Darius and Jennifer sat on the sofa. He placed the box on the coffee table. "What is that?" Jennifer asked, looking at the box. "A gift for Emma?" Jennifer blinked, surprised. "Darius, you don't need to keep bringing things." "I know, but I wanted to. Please, let me give this to her." Jennifer bit her lip, but nodded slowly. Darius stood up and walked to the hallway. "Emma, can you come here for a minute?" The girl came running, Jordan right behind her. "Yes, Uncle Darius." "I brought something for you." Her bright eyes sparkled. "For me?" Darius took the box and handed it to her. "Open it." Emma looked at her mother, asking for permission. Jennifer nodded, her eyes already starting to water because she had an idea of what it was. The girl sat on the floor and began to open the wrapping carefully, as if she wanted to preserve every piece of paper. When she finally opened the box, she gasped. Inside was a new pair of sneakers, light pink with white details. Nice, comfortable, good quality, but nothing ostentatious. Exactly her size. Emma took the sneakers out of the box with small hands, trembling with excitement. Is this for me?" "It's for you," Darius said with a gentle smile. Emma looked at the sneakers, then at Darius, then at the sneakers again. Tears began to stream down her little face. "Thank you, Uncle Darius," she cried, dropping the sneakers and jumping into his lap. Darius caught her in the air and hugged her tightly. The girl squeezed his neck, her voice muffled. "Thank you so much. They're the most beautiful sneakers in the world." "I'm glad you like them, little one." Jennifer wiped her own tears with the back of her hand, trying not to sob loudly. She looked at Darius over Emma's head and managed to articulate a silent, "Thank you." Darius winked at her, his smile soft. Jordan approached, curious. "Can I see Emma?" Emma climbed down from Darius's lap and carefully held the sneakers, showing them to her friend. "Look how pretty they are." "They're really cool," Jordan agreed. "Now you can run even faster in the park." "I'm going to be the fastest of all." The children sat on the floor, examining the sneakers carefully. Emma ran her fingers over the laces, over the details, as if they were the most precious thing in the world. Jennifer stood up from the sofa and walked over to Darius. He was standing watching the children with a smile. "Darius," she began, her voice faltering, "you didn't have to do that." "I know, but thank you. Truly, you have no idea how much this means." He turned to her. "I saw her sneakers at the park. They were very worn out. I just wanted to help." Jennifer wiped away another tear. "I was going to buy a new pair. I was just waiting to save up the money." "I know. But now you can use that money for something else, something you need." She looked at him with so much gratitude that Darius felt his chest tighten. "You are a very good person. I'm just doing what I would want someone to do for me if I were in need." Jennifer took a step forward and hugged him. Darius wrapped her in his arms, feeling her small body tremble slightly. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything, for being kind, for not judging, for seeing us." Always, he replied, tightening the hug. When they pulled apart, both of their eyes were shining. Emma came running. "Mom, can I put them on now?" Jennifer laughed, wiping her face. "Of course, love." The girl sat on the sofa and quickly took off her old sneakers. When she put on the new ones, her eyes shone even brighter. They fit perfectly. "Look, Mom, they look beautiful, my love." Emma stood up and started jumping around the living room. "They're so comfortable and so pretty." Jordan laughed, watching his friend's excitement. "Now you have to take good care of them." "I will take very good care of them. I'm going to keep them like a treasure." Jennifer and Darius watched, sitting side by side on the sofa. Their shoulders touched lightly. "She's never going to take those sneakers off," Jennifer said softly. "That's good. They were meant to be worn. You have a huge heart. You know that." Darius shrugged, a little embarrassed. "I just try to be decent." "You're much more than decent." They continued watching the children play. Emma had put the old sneakers in a small bag and stored them carefully under the coffee table as if storing an important memory. Now she and Jordan ran through the small apartment, inventing some crazy game, laughing loudly. "Be careful not to break anything," Jennifer shouted, but she was smiling. The children slowed down a little, but kept playing. "Would you like some coffee?" Jennifer offered. "I'd love some." She stood up and walked to the kitchen. Darius followed her, leaning against the doorframe while she prepared the coffee. "Do you feel uncomfortable being here?" Jennifer asked suddenly without looking at him. "In my apartment. It's so different from your world." Darius frowned. "Jennifer, look at me." She turned, holding the empty mug. "I don't care where I am. I care about who I'm with. And being here with you and Emma is where I want to be." Jennifer swallowed hard. "How do you do that?" "What?" "Always say the right things." Darius smiled. "I just speak the truth." The coffee dripped into the coffee maker. Jennifer poured 2 cups and handed one to him. Their fingers touched for a second longer than necessary. They went back to the living room and sat on the sofa again. The children had calmed down and were now on the floor drawing together in Emma's old notebook. "What are you drawing?" Darius asked. "A family," Emma replied without looking up from the paper. "With a dog," Jordan added. Jennifer and Darius exchanged a look. There was something there, a connection, a silent understanding. The following weeks were different, lighter, more natural. Darius and Jordan started visiting Jennifer and Emma more often. Sometimes during the week after her work, sometimes on the weekend, they had dinner together, watched movies, played at the park. They did simple things, but they meant everything. Emma and Jordan became truly inseparable. They finished each other's sentences, invented secret languages, protected each other like real siblings, and Darius and Jennifer, they talked more. They talked about everything, about fears, about hopes, about the past, about the future. They sat side by side on the sofa while the children slept and talked late into the night. Sometimes they just sat in comfortable silence, simply enjoying each other's company. The glances between them changed. They lasted longer. They meant more. When Darius held Jennifer's hand to help her up from the floor after playing with the children, he held it for a few seconds longer. When Jennifer adjusted his tie before he left, her fingers lingered on the fabric. Small touches, small gestures, but each one loaded with something profound. One day, while they were doing the dishes together in Jennifer's small kitchen, Darius bumped into her accidentally. "Sorry." "It's okay," she replied, but didn't move away. They stayed there side by side, their arms touching, silently washing dishes. It was intimate. It was simple. It was perfect. "Jennifer," Darius said softly. He paused, searching for the right words. "I want you to know that what's happening between us is real for me. Very real." Jennifer stopped scrubbing the plate and looked at him. "For me, too. I know we're taking it slow, and that's fine. I'm not in a hurry. Me neither, she said, her voice soft. But I like where we're going. Darius smiled. Me too. He held out his hand, wet with soap. She took it. They stood hand in hand there in the kitchen, illuminated by the yellowish light, with the sound of children laughing in the living room. And in that moment, Jennifer knew. She knew she had found something special, something rare, someone who saw her truly, someone who didn't care about the size of her apartment or the clothes she wore, someone who loved her daughter as if she were his own, someone who made her feel safe, seen, valued. And Darius knew, too. He knew he had found someone who made him want to be better, someone who reminded him of what truly mattered in life, someone strong, brave, full of love, someone who had entered his life and his son's life and changed everything for the better. When Darius and Jordan left that night after long hugs and promises to see each other soon, Jennifer closed the door and leaned against it. Emma appeared in the hallway barefoot, her new sneakers carefully stored in her room. "Mom, are you happy?" Jennifer smiled. "I am, my love. Very happy." "Me too. Jordan and Uncle Darius are the best." "They are." Emma yawned. "We're like a family now, aren't we?" Jennifer felt her heart clench with emotion. "Yes, I think we are." And for the first time in a long time, Jennifer let hope in the hope that life could be more than just surviving. It could be living truly with love, with joy, with people who mattered. And she was ready for it. Finally ready. 6 months after the day they met at the diner, the two families were together at the park again. But this time, it was different. It wasn't just a casual meeting. It was a planned picnic with a blanket spread on the grass, a basket full of food, comfortable, easy laughter. Emma and Jordan ran between the trees, chasing imaginary butterflies, shouting and laughing nonstop. Emma's blonde hair flew in the wind. Jordan held her hand as they ran, his brown skin glowing in the sunlight. Darius and Jennifer were sitting on the blanket, watching. Jennifer had her head resting on Darius's shoulder. He had his arm around her, the touch natural, familiar. The sun was beginning to set, painting the sky orange and pink. A gentle breeze swayed the leaves of the trees. Darius was quiet for a moment, just watching the children. Then he took a deep breath. "Jennifer." She turned her face to him. He looked into her bright eyes. "I need to tell you something." Jennifer straightened up a little. "What is it?" Darius took her hand. "After I lost my wife, I thought I would never love again. I thought that part of me had died with her." Jennifer squeezed his hand. "My heart closed. I shut myself off. I focused only on work, on Jordan, on surviving each day. But it wasn't really living." He raised his eyes and met hers. "But then you came along, you and Emma, and something changed." Tears began to form in Jennifer's eyes. "Little by little, you two opened my heart again, reminding me what it's like to feel, what it's like to care." Jennifer let out a small sob. "Jennifer, you and Emma made my heart open again. You brought light into my life and into Jordan's life." Jennifer threw her arms around his neck, hugging him tightly. Darius wrapped her in his arms, feeling her tears wet his shoulder. "I love you," she whispered. He closed his eyes. "I love you too. So much." They hugged for long minutes. When they pulled apart, both of their eyes were red, but they were smiling. Darius wiped the tears from her face. "You are amazing. You know that." "You are too." He leaned in slowly and kissed her, a soft kiss full of promise. When they pulled away, they heard giggles. They turned and saw Emma and Jordan standing there looking at them with huge smiles. "You were kissing," Emma said, laughing. Jennifer blushed. "Emma?" Darius and Jennifer exchanged a look and laughed. "Come here, you two," Darius called. The children ran and threw themselves on top of them. They all fell onto the blanket, laughing. When they finally calmed down, the four people lay side by side looking at the darkening sky. "Look," Emma said, pointing to the sky, "the first star." "Make a wish," Jordan said. Emma closed her eyes tightly. Jordan did the same. Jennifer and Darius looked at each other over the children's heads, smiling. After a few seconds, Emma opened her eyes and turned sideways, looking at Darius and Jennifer. "Can I ask something?" "Of course, love," Jennifer said. Emma looked at the four of them there lying together. "Are we a family now?" Silence fell for a second. Jennifer felt her throat tighten. Darius held her hand over the children. Jordan propped himself up on his elbows and looked at his dad. "We are right, Dad?" Darius looked at his son, looked at Emma, looked at Jennifer, and he smiled, his eyes shining. "Yes," he said, his voice firm and full of emotion. "We are a family." Jennifer sat up and pulled Emma into her lap, hugging her daughter tightly. "Yes, my love," she said, her voice trembling. "We are a family." Emma and Jordan screamed with joy and hugged each other, jumping. "I knew it!" Emma shouted. "Now we're real siblings!" Jordan cheered. Darius pulled Jennifer and the two children into a collective hug. The four stayed there embracing, laughing, and crying at the same time. It was messy, it was imperfect, it was beautiful. When they finally separated, the sky was already dark, full of stars. Darius helped Jennifer stand up. The children picked up the basket together. They walked to Darius's car, the four of them together. Emma held Jennifer's hand with one hand and Jordan's with the other. Darius had his arm around Jennifer's shoulders. As they drove through the city, the children chatted animatedly in the back seat, making plans. Darius held Jennifer's hand while driving. "Are you happy?" he asked softly. Jennifer looked back, saw the children laughing, then looked at Darius. "More happy than I thought was possible." "Me too," she squeezed his hand. "Thank you for what?" "For seeing us, for staying, for loving us." Darius lifted her hand and kissed it. "Thank you for letting me." And there, in that car, with two children chattering in the back seat and the illuminated city outside, two people who thought they would never find love again discovered that love always finds a way. Sometimes it starts in a simple diner. Sometimes it grows in a park on Sundays. Sometimes it is built with patience, respect, and small acts of kindness.